Hey there guys, this is Mateo. I'm the Guild Master of Pathogen Gaming, and I'm here with a short video on exclusive equipment. This is a new feature that was revealed in the August preview of the patch notes yesterday for the game Epic 7. There was been a bunch of questions that were fielded by my guild. This video is primarily for my guild and I. I wanted to collect all of my thoughts and put them together into this video. So if you've already gone over this with your own guild or your own community, and you already have a way that you're going to go through it, that's great. On your way down, as you hit like and subscribe to the video, go ahead and leave your comments if there's anything you disagree with, or you have your own perspective. I love to hear it. I love to start a little dialogue here with you guys. So what is exclusive equipment? Well, for us, one of the guild games that we played, one of the mobile games that we played before was King's Raid. So if you're familiar with King's Raid, they're going to be nearly identical to Unique Treasures. If you haven't played King's Raid, so here's what the exclusive equipment is. So basically, it's another equipment slot for your characters. Think artifact slot, right? You have your 6 pieces of gear, and then you have your artifact. Well, there's going to be another one. Now, what this slot does is it basically it's like another Molagora investment. It's going to boost one of your skills, either your S1, your S2, or your S3. The example that they gave in the preview was the Life Monarch staff, which is the exclusive equipment for Destina. It boosts her S1. It gives her a cleanse on her S1, dispels the debuff from target with the lowest health. It gives a buff to her S2, increases target's combat readiness by 20%, and her S3 gets -1 cooldown. So the way this works is when you do the new exclusive content, so they're adding something to the current challenges, you know, where you go to get your charms for your gear, that's going away, and they're moving that, and they're going to add in the Hall of Trials. So what the Hall of Trials is going to be is a challenge, kind of like the exclusive events, right? So you go in there, you fight Lilibeth, you fight Charles, you fight whomever, and you get your exclusive artifact or an event hero, right? Like Sarala, Kikarat, things like that. So it's going to be an event like that, but it's going to have some handicaps on it. So if you've ever played Diablo 3 going to a Greater Rift, there might be some pluses and minuses of the Greater Rift. So for example, the one they have here, the Karen challenge is getting ready to come up. Mages get an extra boost to their attack, defense, and health, and rangers deal less damage, right? So there's some ways that they can change that up. They can make healers heal for less. They can make tanks squishier. They can do all kinds of things here to increase the challenge here in terms of how you do that. But that's where you're going to get the currency for your exclusive equipment. Now what they said here is 4 heroes are going to get exclusive equipment every month. It's going to cycle every month. So at the start of the month, which is tomorrow for the patch on Wednesday, they're going to, which is the 21st, 22nd in Korea. So what they're going to do is 4 heroes are going to get exclusive equipment. So it's going to be Chloe, Rose, Destina, and Wanderer Silk, or ML Silk. And it's going to be random with drops, right? So let's say I really want that -1 cooldown to Destina's S3. And I keep getting Life Monarch staffs to drop, but they're not S3. They're S1 and S2. At the end of that month, what they're going to allow us to do is take the exclusive equipment that we don't want and merge them or use them as crafting material to make the one we do want. So let's say I don't know how many it's going to be, but let's say it's 10. And I get 10 Life Monarch staffs. None of them are minus cooldown to S3. I go into the Sanctuary, I go to Alchemist Steeple, and I combine those into my S3 exclusive equipment for Destina. So that's the way that's going to work. It does have a base stat on it for Destina's, the one that was previewed. It has effect resistance on it, either from 8 to 16%. That's the range. So that's exclusive equipment in a nutshell. And I wanted to go over some questions that my guild asked, and I'm going to answer this as I received them. So, is this OP? The answer to that is yes or no. Yes and no. Now, for the characters that have them, now you might say, oh man, that's going to be really great for Destina, but these are some things that we thought that she needed a buff for to be competitive in the current meta anyway. Right now, her niche is um, countering heavy dispellers, right? So your Dizzy, your ML Ball, your ML Aura, you stack her up with effect resistance, and she's able to get that cleanse on turn one, and also the CR boost when she cleanses debuffs, and to get you back in the game. The problem is if it's a really tanky stall comp, like let's say it's a counter Dizzy that's really tanky, not that fast, right? Um, the offensive debuffers out cycle her abilities. Her S3 is going to still be on cooldown when their second round of S3s and S2s go off. So if you don't kill them quick enough, now there's lots of reasons for that to be the case, you fall behind. She can't consistently keep up like some of the other 4-turn dispellers such as Kitty Clarissa and Dingo, right? So that S3 is going to be very valuable. Does that make her OP? No. That's probably going to make her at parity with some of the other cleansers in terms of the meta, right? So yes, it could be because we don't know what the other abilities are. For all we know, the one for Rose, the base stat on the one for Rose could be speed, and then she could magically be faster than Ruzit and Judith, and then that would change some things, right? Because now you have your booster given attack buff, and it's a fast booster now. She's her one weakness, her base speed is completely short up. So we don't know, right? So it could be, it could not be, right? For like you look at Destina, these are some buffs that they should have given her anyway. So I don't think that's OP. And then if the Rose one or the Chloe one or the Wander Silk one turns out to be amazing, and now you see nothing but Wander Silks and Chloe's and Roses all over PvP and Guild Wars and clearing Abyss super easy, then yeah, then maybe that might be OP. But what it does do is it gives Smilegate and Super Creative a lever to balance heroes without having to buff or nerf the base hero, if that makes sense. So take a look at what they're doing. There's been some nerfs to heroes, like you think about what's going to happen to Silverblade Araminta, right? That one can have some impact on her PvE because she has high usage in A11. She has high usage in Abyss. So nerfing her in PvP will also affect her in PvE, right? Now, if you look at Arbiter Vildred, dying and rezzing and coming back with attack buff to, nuke your team out of orbit, that's probably exclusively PvP. And that nerfing that probably won't, or not probably, it doesn't have anything to do with him dog walking or leveling your fodder or the way you use him in PvE, right? Because you're going to be bringing your own host of buffs and debuffs. You're going to bring your defense break. You're going to bring your attack buff. You might have your DN, or you might bring your Charles or whatnot into the team. So you're going to have that taken care of anyway in PvE, more so than you would in PvP for those specific niches. So with the exclusive equipment, what they can do is there can be a piece of equipment that makes that unit better in PvE, and then there could be one that buffs the skill that you use that character for in PvP, and they don't have to buff and nerf the base character. They can just nerf that aspect of the exclusive equipment, so they can make those changes without hurting you using that character somewhere else. Maybe you don't PvP. Maybe you've never seen Arbiter Vildred revive before because you just don't use him in PvP. He's just your dog walker. He's leveling your Phantasma and all your fodder, and so all you're doing is spamming S3 with him. He gets the kill, he gets the reset. You're just spamming S3 through the whole stage, and so you don't even know what his S2 does. Well, you know it, but it's not applicable to you. So they could they could change that lever on the exclusive equipment, and it doesn't affect you as a player. It only affects those people that are using it in PvP, right? So that's a positive that they can now balance certain aspects of the characters that may be deemed underpowered, like in the case of Destina with the cooldown on her S3, or overpowered as some of the things that they've already addressed that they're going to nerf, simply by modifying the piece of equipment and not ruining the base stats or the base skills of the character. And creating buyer's remorse or making people upset about spending money on that character or spending time or their resources throwing bookmarks at the character or whatnot, right? Because that's always one of the cautions, right? You don't want to nerf a character because people were spending to get that character as advertised, right? So now they have a way to balance the character without actually changing what was advertised that the character has or has available to them, right? So next is the difficulty of the. Actually, this is really bothering me. I gotta get this.
What do I sell?
Nothing in there though. So the difficulty of the event dungeon, and we don't know this. We absolutely don't know this one. So, I mean, it could be status quo. It could be the way that all the other event dungeons are, where hell is kind of difficult for a newer or free-to-play player, and a veteran or somebody that's a spender just kind of runs over everything. That's definitely a possibility. Or it could be floor 95 through 100 pre-nerf automaton tower difficulty, and you're gonna have to break out your Tam Issa, your ML 5 stars. You're gonna have to pull Falcon or Clury and Commander Lorena off the bench if you don't currently use them. Your Crowl, units like that defense penetration, heavy DPS, high heals per turn, CR boosting, things like that. Requiem Roar is a good one. Shout out to Tenorant for showcasing the Banshees spectacularly there. So there's some 3-star units that are good for that kind of content too. But if it is difficult, there is a subset of characters that are better for that kind of content than other characters, right? So you may have to get creative there in order to defeat the content, to get your currency, to get your exclusive equipment. And if you look at or just think of what some possibilities are to buff somebody's S1, S2, S3. I mean, that content can be as hard as you want. It's greatly rewarding to accomplish it. So some unknowns. So as we can see from the preview, there is a base stat on the exclusive equipment. Now the question we got is, does that mean we can upgrade it? That means we can make that base stat higher. We don't know. We don't know yet. Is it just those 3 abilities? So every character gets 3 abilities that gets boosted, or just one variant of their S1, S2, S3? And the answer to that is we don't know. We're at that point in King's Raid where we're getting our 3rd unique treasure, so our 3rd ability is getting boosted. Who knows what's after that? At some point, with enough iteration, let's say a year or 2 from now, we may be at that point where it's like, I don't know how to buff this character anymore, or to be able to catch it up to the power creep without adding a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, so on ability buff to get it up to par. So the sky's the limit on this, as far as I can tell. We don't know about how many different abilities, or is there going to be one character that only gets 2 abilities boosted because their passive is already really strong, something like Arbiter Vildred, or is everybody going to get 3, or are there going to be people that get more than 3? We don't know. Another thing is, are these exclusive equipment, are they going to be subject to the same rules as normal equipment? So unequipped costs and needs a special, are there going to be exclusive equipment charms or fodder to level them up if they can be leveled up? So those are all good questions. I don't know the answer to those yet. I will be posting back here as an update when we do have the answer right away. Next question is, how will this change in PvP? Now, I'm a heavy proponent of this because of how stale PvP has gotten, at least for organized guilds, right? So think about this. You see a Dizzy on somebody's defense. There's only 1 or 2 ways that Dizzy is built. That Dizzy's either built really fast, and they're there to force you to deal with them going first. And she has Ayla Violin on. She's going to dispel your immunity buff and set you up to be debuffed, right? Or it's going to be a slow, tanky counter set Dizzy, and she's probably wearing Abyssal Crown, and she's just there to stun you into oblivion. She's there to stun you until you hit the yield button. That's basically the 2 variants of Dizzy you're going to see, and you just have that knowledge in your head now, and you kind of know, well, at least if you're high champion legend or you're fighting the same guilds over and over again in Guild Wars, you just kind of know who has what. And it's the same thing. You see a Carmen, okay, well, this is a really fast Carmen. She's going to cut you and get the invincibility off before your speed team can finish, or she's going to be slow. She's there to let her team go first, and then she's going to put the invincibility up so they get a free turn too. It's just there's only so many different ways that you can customize units that make sense, that are efficient, that are effective, and so everything has kind of been solved. There might be one or two people out there that are like, oh, I didn't know you could put Moonlight Dreamblade on that. That was really effective, or things like that. But outside of that, I think TacDez is running. He's just running a super tanky team. He's running double Elbrus, so both his Carmen and his Fallen Cecilia have Elbrus on instead of one of them wearing Aureus because of how tanky his teams are stat wise. And so that one threw me for a loop. So it's there's a few of those out there. But besides that, everything has kind of been solved. If you see a unit, you kind of know how that unit's going to be built, right? You're never going to run into a 280 speed Karen, even though he has the fastest base speed in the game. He's always going to be built, super DPS heavy, very slow, so he can hold on to that immortality buff as fast as as long as possible. And he's just there. He's always going to have Dust Devil on. There's a couple of Moonlight Dreamblade Karens out there, but he's going to have Dust Devil on, so he can double S1 you into oblivion, right? Just one turn kill you. And so that everyone has kind of been solved, but with the exclusive equipment, you never know who's going to have their S1 buffed or their S2 buffed or their S3 buffed, right? You don't know. So that's going to add another element of another variable into both offenses and defenses. And now I know what you're saying. Well, that means I'm going to get surprised more often and I'm going to lose. Well, that's better than having 100% win rate. That's honestly stale to me personally. Where okay, I know I can Aux Cleave, I know I can Aux Lots BBK Cleave with a Bloodblade Karen, team A, B, C, D, and E, and then F. I gotta bring a secondary cleaver, I gotta take it slow, or I gotta bring my Dizzy or something. I know this Corvus is really beefy, so I need to bring Luna. And so yeah, maybe once every 10 matches, I gotta change things up. But other than that, it's cleave, and it doesn't matter if they have Carmen, and it doesn't matter if they have Fallen Cecilia. It's get in, get out, and it's very stale, at least to me. At least that's my opinion. And so I would like to have more variables in the matchups, so that I'm playing the match full out. I actually really dislike Sunday nights to get into the top 100. I really do. I dislike that. Even though I'm one of the people that have Aux Lots that's really fast, and I have a Bloodblade Karen, and I have a Challenger Dominion, and I have a Celeste, and I can run Speed and Prince, and I can run another Cleaver, have a really good or well-geared Biken. I can put the team together to get really fast wins. I just don't like that it takes 30 seconds, minute, get in, get out, whether it's Tam Issa offense or Aux Lots, Cleave, and that's it. It doesn't matter what your opponent's name is, doesn't matter what their units are. You've already solved for X, and that's the end. And then it's just how many refreshes can you do? How many flags can you burn through? How many Sky Stones do you have? I don't have any. But how many Sky Stones can you burn through for flags to stay in the top 100? And that kind of it's exciting in the fact that you're sitting there, man. I gotta learn I gotta beat them faster. Gotta beat them faster. Gotta beat them faster. I gotta be more effective. But it's boring in the fact that that's it's two offensive comps. It's going to be the same 10 units on defense, and whatever combination they are, whether that's Ruella of Light or Carmen or Fallen Cecilia, it's et cetera, same 10 units, and they're all built the same. They're all built in one or two ways, right? And so this is going to add that extra variable to where maybe you figure out something that maybe it's not the most numbers wise efficient, but it covers so many bases. Now there's only 4 units that have exclusive equipment, but when there are more, because they plan to add 4 more characters every month. So once your full roster has it, you may have such a selection that no one team can just come in there and beat you real quick. real fast, and so it deters people from fighting you, and you get a bunch of surprise defensive wins, and then all of a sudden, you're not pay to win, or you're not a heavy spender, but you're up there in the top 100 just like everybody else, because your creativity in this new outlet has allowed you to put something together that nobody else thought of. Now obviously people are going to figure it out, and then everybody's going to copy you, but kudos to you, man, for figuring that out before everybody else. So I think this is going to be very helpful for everyone, PvE and PvP, because there's people that just do the PvE, they just like seeing the animations and running through all the content and everything, and they don't really care about PvP. So whenever their character gets nerfed because of PvP, that kind of feels bad for them. But so now that shouldn't happen anymore, now that the balancing mechanism can be put on the exclusive equipment, because they're not going to pick that PvP centric option anyway, so it's not going to affect them if that get nerfed, right? So everybody should be able to enjoy the game no matter what aspects of the game they do enjoy, or no matter what they're playing. So if you have any reservations about this system coming out, the fact that it's free to play, right? It's not like unique treasures or unique weapons. You gotta roll them in the gacha and King's Raid. That's not the case here. You get the currency from doing the challenge, just like you did before. How you got your Ayla violin, and how you got your portrait, and so on and so forth. And you spend the currency. You get your exclusive equipment, and if you don't like it, you can actually take a bunch of those, go into the sanctuary, into your alchemist steeple, and you can actually make the one you want. So this is super free to play, super accessible to everybody. And speaking of which, one of the things they said in the preview is that limited artifacts and heroes are going to be available in the same shop as the exclusive equipment in the challenges. So if you were one of those people that missed Ayla Violin, or you had a maxed out Tonfa, and you were like, I don't need a couple percent more, I'm not going to waste my energy to get a Portrait of the Stars, those things will be in the shop. We'll be rotating every month with the exclusive equipment. So you can go back in there and get those things that you didn't have before. And so this is a win-win for you. Even if you don't have any of the 4 units that are in the exclusive equipment pool for whatever month it is, you're still going to win, because now you get to limit break the artifacts that you didn't before, or you get to get them if you weren't playing the game back then, right? Because you see, man, oh, Dizzy, I don't have Dizzy. Oh, I have a violin. That would be really good if I could dispel people's buffs, every turn or every other turn or whatnot. And so now you get to go back and revisit those things. Probably not Dizzy, because that's a collab. But Ayla Violin, most certainly that will be in the exclusive equipment shop. So stay tuned for that. These are good things for the game. I shouts out to Smilegate, because there's some things that they do that I disagree with. I'm a big PvP guy, so obviously there's some things I disagree with. I was a big Holy Trinity user. I used Elson Ricarus and Tyria with Lorena for all of Abyss 180. I used them in PvP. So I've had a sour taste in my mouth ever since Holy Trinity nerf. So there's some things I dislike, but this is a thing that I genuinely do like, and I like to know what you guys think. So until then, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and until next time, peace.